Hello everybody. I'm gonna try to make this video as short as possible. If I can. Um, why can't you win with a narcissist? Well, that is a very in-depth question. Probably not the good way to start this off. I just want to give some examples of how, in my experience, I was never able to win. One of the things that struck me today and has struck me before, I have a lot of clients that drop their projects off at my humble abode. Um, One of them today is like, "Oh, your place smells so good," and it struck me. My narcissist always complained about how bad it smelled. "Oh, your place smells like shit." Never made any sense. So that memory reenacted or triggered. Then I started to think about other stuff too. The narcissist was always saying, "Your place is such a piece of shit." Um, and I have clients that come in and they say, "Oh, I love your place. This is an awesome place. This is a nice place." Surprise, surprise, right? Um, Another thing that I got a lot, was when I first started dating her. I was pretty ripped. I weighed 155 pounds. I'm 5'10". I was very athletic build. And you're too small. Why aren't you bigger? Gained about 10 to 15 pounds, and then I was all of a sudden fat. Uh, my job, at the time, I was making very good money in a salary job. At the time, she was making $8 an hour. My job was a piece of shit job. Um, you know, I've been called ugly. Um, I'm not fucking Brad Pitt, but I'm damn sure not ugly. Just crazy stuff. It really struck me today when my client's like, "Oh, it smells so nice in here." I was like, "Oh, geez, I always thought it smelled like shit. I've been told it smelled like shit for the last few years." And it really, after going through all this, it really started to strike me how they kind of make up these, it really what this boiled down to. I'm sorry, I'm on a tangent and not really focusing. Projection. She was projecting me about a shitty job, a shitty apartment. Meanwhile, with the apartment, she lived at home. Okay, you live with your mother. You're 26 years old, and get the fuck over yourself. Shitty car. Hers was way worse than mine. The list was endless. I mean, you name any attribute of my life, and she would always project upon it and try to say that mine was worse or mine was shitty and mine was this, mine was that. It really, I think at the beginning of the relationship, I was like, "God, this is just retarded and ridiculous," and I ignored it. But it wore on me eventually. Like when my client today said it smelled nice in my place, I kind of was taken back. I'm like, "You sure? You sure? Because I've been told other things." Um, Yeah, but that projection, man, that projection was killer over, several years. I really started to believe that I was all these bad things. I mean, when you're told day in and day out that you're all these terrible things and everything you own is a piece of shit, you're not looking at reality. You're not living reality. You're living in their crazy la la bullshit that is not true at all. And I'm just now coming back into realizing that all that stuff is completely false. And here's one thing, a very specific example, and you'll notice with my channel, this is the theme of it and why it's the theme of it. My little, what do you call it? Profile picture or whatever. This was a big hit for me also, but way far back. I realized this one way far back. When we first started dating, when she was still being kind, somewhat, somewhat kind, let me not fully, somewhat kind. She told me about how her ex-boyfriend was so abusive. Of course, we all know they do that, right? Her ex-boyfriend was so abusive and such an asshole, and then he was such a dick that he said I look like the Saw doll, which I think the name of that doll is Jigsaw, the Jigsaw doll. Um, at the time, I was thinking, yeah, what a dick. But to be honest, there was a resemblance. She had very pronounced cheeks, chin, and a nose. I thought she was still beautiful, I'll be honest. I always thought she was beautiful, but she did have pronounced facial features that did resemble um, that doll. I'm not going to lie. It goes kind of accurate. Um, Probably, and I remember that. I don't know why I remember that. About 2 years later, we got in a verbal argument, text argument, nothing new there. And then she said, "All my friends think you're ugly." And I'm like, I don't give a fuck what they think, whatever. And then she sent me a picture of Jigsaw and said, "This is what you look like." And I think that was the turning point of when I really, really started to see the projection. Uh, she'd already told me that she had been told she looked like that. It's just funny, but whatever. Um, and 2 years later, now get this, 2 years roughly later, she's mad at me and she projects upon me that scar that she already had. It wasn't a recent scar, it wasn't anything like that. This was probably 4 years after her ex-boyfriend said it to her, and it was projected upon me. I knew it was bullshit. Seriously, do I look like Jigsaw? Come on. I knew it was bullshit, and I remembered it, so I knew it was just projection. And I was just like, I can't. Almost the complete and utter evidence of projection at that time was dumbfounding, to say the least. Uh, Amazing. It almost was like, how can you really be that fucked up? Is what I was thinking at the time. It made me laugh. It was comical, but um, for you, if you're still involved with people like this, you're in the throes of all this shenanigans. Shenanigans. So that's a separate story. I'll tell you at the end. Um, yeah, something that happened to them 4 years ago. A small slight that somebody said 4 years ago, they'll use on you tomorrow. Project upon you, and it will leave you going, "What the hell?" But that's how long they hold on to stuff. That little injury that ex-boyfriend made was reenacted years and years later. And obviously, yeah, obviously not true. So that's the story of my emblem, because I think that was one of the defining moments where I started to realize that this bitch is crazy. So that's why it's my emblem. No offense to her, necessarily. Like I said, I always thought she was beautiful, so I'm not calling her ugly. I'm not calling her that, but um, that's just what the story is. Um, and the list of that stuff just went on and on and on with the projection stuff. And it was ridiculous. So my last story that I was about to interrupt myself, yes, I was about to interrupt myself with, is you will notice that when I talk, my lip on this side kind of is messed up or does not open correctly. It used to. I used to have a nice, perfect smile. I think it was May of 2015. There was this big brawl at a bar I was in, and the police officers were getting overwhelmed, and I was trying to kind of just like help, really, just like push people off each other and be like, "Look, dude, calm down, calm down, calm down." And one of the dudes I said calm down to smashed me in the face with a bottle, and kind of like, and ever since then, the scar tissue or something, it doesn't act the same. Maybe it will eventually. I don't know, but I guess it gives me more character. Um, so anyway, this was supposed to be a short video, but yeah, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. So yeah, when your narcissist calls you some nasty shit, you can probably rest assured it's something that's happened to them before, if they're a true narcissist. Anyway, have a good night.